What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. First of all, my apologies. I am a little bit behind on videos, so this is the workout from the 23rd. It was incline bench and T-bar row day, so I did both lifts and started off with the incline bench. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to get the bench press done first and then go to the row. But before I did that, I did a very short warm-up, much shorter than usual, and I went to the elliptical. Instead of doing a half mile, I just went for a quarter mile, which took 2 minutes and 9 seconds. So very short. The reason for it is because there's been a pretty significant weather shift in Chicago, and so we are seeing much warmer days now, and it's nice. So I don't have to layer up as much or really much at all, and the snow is melting, which is good. So I got to the gym. I already felt fine. I already felt like I could jump right into a workout, but just from habit, I went to the elliptical, and I was probably a minute in, and I just realized this isn't necessary. So I stopped at a quarter mile and then started warming up on bench press. Basically, for the warm-up, very simple. I did the same 10 reps with the bar, 45 pounds, set of 8 with 95, a set of 6 with 135, and here's the 10 by 5 with 195. So 90 seconds of rest in between sets as always, and you're noticing I am recording from the opposite side. Usually I just put the phone against that column that you see in the background and you see me from the left side. Sometimes I'll put it a little in front, and this time I figured, okay, nobody's using the leg press and there's barely anybody at the gym, so let me go to the right side just to switch it up and just so that you all can see it from the opposite angle. In terms of sets and reps, these are very comfortable, and it is the second time doing this one, so it should be a little bit easier the second time around, although it also does make a little difference when you start with incline bench versus putting it as the second exercise after T-bar row. So that had a little bit of a factor, but I was just looking to start off with incline bench this time around, and as a result, these are just fine. There's a good stoppage on the chest, and as the sets progress, and even with some of the previous reps, you'll notice a substantial pause on the chest. Not that I was looking to really do a lot of paused work here. Stoppage, yes, but long pauses, rest pauses, only when I felt like it, especially with this type of volume, 50 reps. When I go down to like 30, then I'll try to do a little bit more, but for 50, it's honestly just getting the volume done and staying on pace. Those are the most important things. But whenever I can, or whenever I should feel the inkling to do it, I'll put a pretty good pause on the chest, normally on the last rep of the set, but sometimes I'll just kind of do it randomly. And that's pretty much bench press. For the accessory, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to go to another pressing movement or if I wanted to do a fly, and I did enjoy going back to the cable crossover last time, especially since it had been so long since I've done that kind of fly motion. So I thought about it, decided on an incline dumbbell fly. So basically what I did was I set the bench at 20 degrees, so it's not that steep of an incline, still enough to activate the upper chest fibers, but not so high to the point where the delts take the brunt of the work. So the highest I would go on an incline bench press or even fly would be no higher than 45 degrees. 45 would be about tops for me, and what I would normally recommend for people, just because if you go any higher than that, you're practically doing a shoulder press or even trying to do a fly at an angle that's going to be a bit too steep, and honestly, your shoulders won't be happy about being at that sort of angle, especially if you try to do a fly with it. Press you might be able to get away with, but fly, it's not going to be very agreeable. So for those who are looking to work the upper chest, sure, you could go 30 degrees, 35 degrees, 45, but I would not go any higher than 45, and honestly 15, 20 degrees usually sufficient to get the job done. But I went pretty light. I did a set of 8 with the 50-pound dumbbells as the warm-up, and I kept it safe. So I did the 3x8 with the 60-pound dumbbells, knowing very well I could have gone heavier. I could have definitely gone to the 70s if I wanted to push it more, but I didn't. I specifically went lighter because it's a fly motion. I don't do those much anymore, and so there's no point in pushing it too much. And I also just wanted to leave plenty in the tank, as they say, plenty in reserve. So I not only paused the bottom position, but I also held the peak contraction, and that helps a lot. So that helped kind of fill in the difference from going heavier, but just making sure I kept tension on the chest throughout the entire movement, and that was good enough for me. Alright, and here is the last set of bench press, and again, you'll see a little bit more of a pronounced stoppage on the chest with the latter reps and the latter sets. So just as long as I'm able to, I will, and whenever I really feel like it, I'll do that. Alright, T-bar row. Now for T-bar row, I'm starting to get in the habit of being a little bit more progressive and gradual with warm-ups. So what I did differently this time around was a set of 10 with 95 pounds, a set of 8 with 120, and here we have the 10x5 with 145, 90 seconds of rest in between, and I am opting for that wider stance, which I think is a little bit more comfortable for me to take. It's a little bit less stressful on the lower back, and it allows me to not only get into the starting position a little bit easier and a little bit quicker, but also to maintain it. Oh, and a side note, if you're wondering what happened at the end of set 1, the phone literally just fell forward. So that's why I did that. That wasn't like an effect I put in. It literally just fell over after I brought the bar down. But otherwise, in terms of these sets, pretty good. Pretty good. I really do enjoy using the interlocking finger grip, and something I did experiment with on this session was, and this didn't happen till much later, probably like set 7 or something like that, 7 or 8. It just dawned on me that I'm always gripping it the same way, which isn't bad. It's fine. It's such a close grip and such a narrow grip that it doesn't really make a big difference. But I did a little experimenting, and what I normally do, and what I've always done really, is start with the left index finger on top and then interlocked the hands after that. So my left hand would just be ever so slightly higher than the right. And again, it's not that big of a difference. It's not going to make or break the exercise. And just for the sake of doing it, I did a couple sets with the right index finger on top and then interlocking the fingers. And I kind of liked it. I might do something to the effect of alternating. So starting one set with one on top and then starting the next one with the other, and either do that or do 5 with one, 5 with the other. I think I might do it just for the sake of trying to be as balanced as possible. But again, this is not to the point where it would cause anything major to happen by just doing it the same way. But I might just find it interesting to do like a bit of a variation and just have one on top, left index finger on top for some sets, or at least for half, and then have the other half with the right index finger on top. But who knows? It might have zero effect on the exercise, but I just figured, why not? It just kind of came to me while I was doing the sets, and so I might do that. But T-bar row felt pretty good, and I'm very much enjoying the exercise as a variation to a back mover, whereas before I was really accustomed to bent over barbell rows as a primary mover, or even as like a chin up or a pull up. Those are great, but for this kind of volume, that's pretty tough. So for T-bar row, I'm happy to be doing that, going a little bit more for back thickness as opposed to width, and I like it. I like it quite a bit, in fact. Alright, now for the accessory, I was kind of at a loss for what I was going to do next. I thought about a seated row. I thought about just a regular bent over row. I thought about a one arm row. I thought about doing chin-ups. But what I ultimately ended on was a pull down. But unlike last time, at the station that I typically just kind of gravitate towards, I went to what's called a fixed pull down. Now that is different because the bars, the handles, widen out towards the bottom. So what that means is it's not a straight pull down. No matter which grip you take, whether it's a pronated, neutral, supinated grip, you start close at the top, and as you pull down and as you go into flexion, the bars or the handles will widen out. And I kind of like that. The fact that it'll shift from mid lats all the way out to the outer part of the lats, I think is a good thing to do. So basically what I did was a set of 8 with 150, and then I did the 3x8 with 180, and trust me, that was plenty. I still got all the sets and reps done. Form was still good, but I certainly won't lie, that was definitely a good challenge for me, and I would not have wanted to go any heavier than that, just because at that point it won't be pretty. So that's more or less the workout. On a side note, there were very few people working out while I was at the gym, but one of them happened to be the main gym crush, and it's actually quite interesting because she was doing exercises that I had done for the last lower body day, like identical, and she was absolutely killing it. She was doing great. She looked amazing. Form was on point, and it was just kind of funny because I was like, wait, I did almost all those exercises last time, so hopefully that was a little bit of inspiration. All right, everyone, adopt, don't chop.